Killer cop pretends to be a concerned husband to hide his evil plan. What the fuck kind of plot twist, yo? Enough said. You got me by the title. Let's get into it.
What's the address? 911. What's the matter? Tell me where you're at. Okay, take a deep breath for me. Take a deep breath.
She shot herself, my nigga?
Come on. I need you to come here. Okay?
Yeah, so just so you know, we're 60 or nigh. This guy that we're going to, retired ISP. Yeah, but he's super volatile. He's torched off rounds. He's done all kinds of shit. So we're waiting for all of us to get here to go in and be aware that it could turn into something major.
Bro, why is it that when all these weird shit like cop videos happen, it's always like the house is always in the middle of nowhere? Have you guys noticed that? Like this house looks like it's in the middle of nowhere, dude. On some Curse the Cowardly Dog shit, bro. Oh, is this the guy?
Get gloves?
Bro, was that a bear on the wall? Hold on. Yeah, bro, that's a bear. I don't know what it's called, but it's like the fur of the bear. Yeah, right there. Oh yeah, I can tell this is gonna be up, bro. Shit's about to be crazy. Niggas who have no. Niggas who have taxidermied animals and shit in their house, you are a fucking psychopath. Damn. All assholes.
Send in medical. Yep. No heartbeat.
Shit. If I go out from the bathtub?
Not seeing anything.
The recordings you have just heard and seen are evidence of what happened in the aftermath of Kendi Howard's death on February 2nd, 2021.
2021. That's right. Yes, 4 years ago.
Before we begin, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the family and loved ones of the victim in this case, Kendi Howard. Divorce can be heartbreaking for some couples, but for one 48-year-old Idaho woman who tried to make her marriage work for more than half her life, divorce wasn't an ending she was dreading. After 27 years, Kendi Howard was ready to move on. Her family and friends said that she was so elated about the decision that she was practically giddy about starting the next stage of her life. She was planning for a bright new future, one that did not include Daniel Howard. Kendi was a bubbly, outgoing person who loved the outdoors. She was the mother of 2 children, a daughter from a previous relationship, and a son she shared with Dan Howard. The couple lived in Athol, Idaho, a community that is part of the Coeur d'Alene metropolitan area. Kendi was taking concrete action to break ties with Dan Howard, a
one of them there, you know what I'm saying? He probably talks like this too.
Former Idaho state trooper who was jealous and controlling. She had recently made an offer on a house in Kamaya, Idaho, 176 miles away from Athol. That's where she rekindled a relationship with her high school sweetheart, Daniel Pardo. She had given notice at a company she worked for 20 years. Her dream was to open an antique store. But as the conclusion of the Howards' divorce grew near, tension between Kendi and Dan was reaching a breaking point. In the early morning hours of January 29, 2021, just 4 days before her death, Kendi made a distress call to her new boyfriend. She didn't speak to him directly, but left the line open so he could hear what was happening. He would later testify at Dan Howard's trial that Kendi was distraught and emotional, and he heard sounds of thuds in the background. He hung up and called Kendi's parents, who called 911.
Smart.
Central Dispatch, this is...
Yes. I had a call from my daughter, Kendi Howard.
Okay.
She she called in a panic, and I know her husband just got home from Alaska, and they're getting a divorce, and it didn't sound very good out there.
Tell me exactly what happened.
We was in bed, and my wife just got a phone call from a and here, I'll let you talk about.
I got a call from a friend that she called them, and she's in a panic, and then hung up, and I've been trying to call her, and she won't answer. She's had trouble with him before. Dan Howard.
W parents,
they've
bro.
been there before.
Okay. Are you at that location now?
No, I'm in.
Okay.
And I got a call from another friend.
Were there any weapons involved?
I don't know if he has weapons. And we've been there before because he pretended to like that. He'll kill you and take you with him before he does that. He just called me.
Yo! Did this nigga just say that he was gonna kill himself and he's gonna take her with him?
And it was in a panic, and then the phone hung up.
That's some scary shit right there.
Call me. Hello? Hello?
That's it? That's it?
Yes.
The cops are on their way to me. Candy. The cops are on their way. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. Stay on the line with your dad. What? Stay on the line with your dad.
Okay, she's calling me. She's in a panic. She asked if Dad's sick. That's a sign that she needs help.
She's
Okay.
using that as a ploy.
What is she saying? What's going on?
Pardon? No.
She's saying what's going on?
No, because he's there listening. That's why she said it. And she's crying.
Okay.
It's crazy. I told her not to freaking.
Oh, why is she still living in that house?
Alright. Do you think it's been physical?
Yes.
Okay.
You guys were there last summer because he pretended to commit.
Okay. Okay. Hold on just 1 second.
I just said I'm on the phone with the cops, and she said, yeah.
Is she saying anything?
She's on the phone with her dad right now.
Okay.
After Kendi's parents placed that call, police were dispatched to the Howard residence to conduct a welfare check.
Okay.
The officers reported that Kendi was anxious and scared, but seemed relieved when they arrived. She packed a bag and went to stay at her parents' home that night. When
so she
Kendi
left.
called her new boyfriend later that morning to tell him what had happened, she was upset and sobbing. She said she had woken up in bed to find Dan looming over her. He was dressed in black and wearing gloves. She spotted a gun magazine on the floor. She believed he was going to kill her. Her new boyfriend and her parents begged her not to return to the house the next.
We went past that way too quick. What the fuck do you mean? You wake up and you see this nigga with gloves on. Like, he was preparing to, like, shabig the nigga, bro. Gloves on? Full black fit? Nah, I would not come back to that house.
But Kendi
I would
insisted
not
that she
come back
had
to
to
that
go
house.
back. She wanted to make sure her animals were okay, and she had an eye appointment to keep. Police would be called to the home again
Them
on
animals are
February
not worth your
2nd,
life, bro.
this time because of a 911 call placed by Daniel Howard. Body-worn cameras by the responding officers captured his demeanor at the scene. He claimed Kendi had shot herself with a handgun while taking a bath on the...
She shot herself in the bath. That seems way too convenient. Hell no, that story
Second
does
floor.
not match up nice. Nah, he's an actor now.
So
This nigga disgusts me.
No, please, no.
Hi guys.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I honestly haven't seen it. I know that she's.
I see no tears.
No,
Them are crocodile tears, Chad. Don't let them fool you. Doesn't even sound believable.
Please don't. Just tell me it's gonna go away.
Hi, sir. Good, how are you?
Oh, please, please.
The extra coughing and shit is not it, bro. It's actually pissing me off.
Do you need anything?
I'm bringing my Lord and Savior into this.
Investigators noted in their reports that although Dan made loud wailing noises while they were at his house, there were no physical indications of crying, such
Yo, this nigga's not serious. I knew he was not gonna cry too. This guy's a fucking
as
psychopath.
tears or mucus. As one officer wrote, the long-term excessive show of emotion seemed especially odd for a seasoned former law enforcement officer and former Marine. After they
And
checked
he's a Marine? Oh,
on
hell
Kendi
no.
and determined that there were no signs of life, officers briefly discussed how to handle notifying Dan of his wife's death.
Zach?
Yep.
Me, Dad?
Do we, given, this is a different case, so given the circumstances of him and emotions and things like that, do we want to tell him? I don't think did medical tell him that she dead?
I don't think so.
Do we want to tell him or do we want to wait?
You better tell him.
Okay, I got it. Actually, you know what? You haven't done one. Let's all wait.
Okay. Before I take pictures?
Yeah.
Okay. What's his name?
Dan. Thank you.
Dan? Hey, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Dan? Hey, Dan, I'm Deputy Wheeler. I'm sorry to inform you, but your wife is passed, sir.
No! God damn it!
So quiet.
Hey, Dan?
The silence is insane. I got it.
Hey, Dan? Is there anyone that we can call for you? Anyone that
It's
can...
good devastating. Oh my God.
Oh, shit. I forgot about the kids.
Is there anyone we can call to give you some support or anything like that? Any family that...
Back to the shit.
Dan,
What
I
did he
know this
say?
is hard, but when is the last time that you saw your wife alive? I know this is tough.
I don't know.
How long
This
ago?
nigga's a fucking...
Can you recall?
Okay, nigga, you got the Oscar. Shut the fuck up now, bro. Yeah, you can tell it doesn't feel real, bro.
Did you call 911 when you heard the gunshot?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. Oh no. I didn't.
Well, help us out with the time frame, all right?
I didn't think it was a gunshot. I was
Okay.
downstairs, TV going. It sounded like something hit the floor or something. I don't know.
When was the last time you saw your wife before she went to go take a bath?
Right.
Hour and a half.
You expect
Hour
us
and
to
a half?
keep that
Hour and a half?
bullshit?
Okay.
Okay.
Hour and a half or something. I don't know.
An hour and a half?
I really don't know.
No, bro, you heard a gunshot and you waited an hour and a half to call the police? Send this nigga straight to jail, bro.
I'm out of it.
It's about 11:15.
Maybe 9:30.
9:30 or so?
I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I might be wrong. Oh my God.
Despite his best efforts to present himself as
Oh my God.
Despite his
My
best
fault. RIP to the victim, but yo, she got him bad.
efforts to present himself as an innocent man, investigators were immediately suspicious of Dan Howard because they knew he had a volatile past. In 2013,
Oh, so they
after
already
he
knew
found
this
out
nigga was a
Kendi was
tweaker, right?
having an affair with their neighbor and friend Matthew Wood, his response was extreme and multi-pronged.
Okay,
According-
okay. Hold on, nigga. Back up a little bit. With what? Let's hear
In
that again.
2013, after he found out Kendi was having an affair with their neighbor and friend Matthew Wood, his response was extreme and multi-pronged, according to the Kootenai County Prosecutor's Office. Dan pointed an assault rifle at Matthew and threatened to splatter his brains all over the wall. He fired a shotgun at the roof of the house, stole his guns and mail, and poured syrup in his vehicles. He graffitied the lawn so conspicuously it could be seen from Google Earth satellite imagery. Dan also sent Matthew vulgar and threatening messages telling him he was lucky to still be breathing and that he understood why men kill their old ladies. He followed Matthew around in his patrol vehicle and confronted him at work, where he ripped a piece of metal off his desk and smashed it into his laptop computer. The neighbor grew so fearful of Dan that he eventually fled his Athol home and moved to Washington State just to get away from him. Dan Howard was charged with first-degree stalking, aggravated assault, and malicious injury to property in connection with those crimes. He admitted to some of the acts, but not all, and
off a whole table leg. I would have left too, bro. That nigga, no, yeah, that nigga's smart, bro. What? Over your shorty? I get it's your wife, but bro, doggy.
Agreed to pay restitution to Matthew. When officers interviewed Dan at his house on the night of Kendi's death, he attempted to portray his wife as irrational and unstable. He claimed that she had threatened to harm herself many times before.
Did she ever make any statements that had you concerned about her well-being?
Yeah, about every day. Well, it's just she's so emotional.
She's so emotional.
She tells her we split up, and I'd agree with her.
No, you
and
didn't.
She'd go the other way.
How long has this been going on?
This hitch, last hitch, we're pretty distant, you know. I knew something was up, but
Last month, then?
yeah, whatever that turned out to be. Yeah, pretty distant.
Do you suspect she was cheating on you again?
Again? Damn, I gotta hurt.
I asked her that. I asked her that to give me closure, because, you know, that would be it. But she said she hadn't been.
You believe it?
Man, her behavior, I don't know. It just doesn't add up. Okay?
He's right about that. This
What doesn't
shit
add
doesn't
up?
add up.
She's behaving the same way she was before. And, you know, before we made a go, that was pretty good. And, when she said she didn't want a divorce, or she does want a divorce, it changed about every other day.
Dan said his marriage to Kendi became strained because they had a long-distance relationship half the time. He worked in Alaska's Prudhoe Bay, operating equipment with a schedule of 3 weeks on and...
This nigga's life sucks, bro. Worked in the Marines, bro. Probably got some PTSD, bro. Working this dead-ass, fuck-ass job, bro. In the middle of nowhere, cold as fuck, and your bitch is cheating on you. I'm not saying what he did is right, but I see why he kind of geeked out.
And 3
Still
weeks
no
off.
reason to kill
That
your wife,
wasn't
though.
always the case.
No reason
Back
to kill
in
your wife. That's
2014,
fucked up.
Dan resigned his job of 19 years as a trooper with the Idaho State Police following his suspension. His stalking behavior toward Matthew Wood led to his downfall. When law enforcement served a warrant on his property in connection with the case, they found thousands of rounds of ammunition he had stolen from the Idaho State Patrol. They also learned he had a fraudulent title for his Harley-Davidson motorcycle and a white-tailed deer that he had poached.
Bro, how are you gonna be a cop and do this bullshit on the side, bro?
Without a license. He was charged in both Kootenai and Bonner counties for these offenses. Dan Howard was sentenced in early 2015 for malicious injury to property, petty theft, title fraud, and failing to tag a deer he shot. He was ordered to serve 120 days in jail and complete 600 hours of community service. He was also given a suspended prison term for 3 years and placed on probation. Although the Howards' marriage had somehow managed to survive all of the previous...
Nah. Dude, this nigga went to jail. He threatened somebody. He's threatened to shebang you, bro, in your own house, and you still stayed? Wow.
Turmoil, it seemed that Kendi had made up her mind this time. She was done with him. On the night that Kendi died, Dan claimed it was an issue that had come up between them regarding the divorce that had pushed her over the edge. He said she became very upset and emotional when he insisted that they include the Kamaya house in the liquidation and split of their assets, even though she had put the offer in on the house herself. Dan said Kendi had the gun because she had asked him to get it out of their safe a couple of days prior so she would have it as part of the division of assets.
She went and put earnest money on a house while I was up on the slope down there. Texted me once that she was going to go see an attorney. She saw the attorney a day before I got in, and then she had those papers. And I tried to talk her out of it. Let's talk first. Well, she didn't. And so, since I've been here, we've been just going back and forth. You want to make it work? Okay, I'll encourage you to make it work. If you don't want to make it work, I'm encouraging you to still make it work. I couldn't see throwing 27 years away. But then, you know, I'm the one that filled out the papers, and I'll give her what she wants, if that's what she wants. And then she will do everything 50-50, okay. That includes the flipping house down there.
Decades, bro. Damn, nearly almost 3.
So you're, I mean, obviously you're wanting to make things work here, and she's.
I'm trying to encourage her.
And she's telling you, you're not hearing me. I want the house and to change.
Okay.
I feel out of love, but it breaks my heart. I'm hurting you.
Yeah, and then she'll come back and go, well, I'm not sure if I want the divorce.
She's mocking her voice too.
Kendi and Dan's joint assets reportedly totaled about $2 million. He denied that dividing it in half bothered him, but people close to Kendi told police that he was ultra-focused on money and would hassle her about debit card transactions as small as $10.
Niggas who have missing hair at the top of their head.
Their substantial nest egg was viewed by investigators as a powerful motive for Kendi's murder.
They lost their hair, bro.
They weren't the only ones who viewed Dan with suspicion. When the police were processing the scene at his house, Dan took a phone call from his stepdaughter. She was yelling at him so loudly that the officers could hear her from across the room. They used this conflict as an opportunity to confront Dan about whether he was telling the truth.
I think you killed your wife.
I have no idea.
Because I got to tell you, that phone call puts chills down my spine.
How many people?
You did it, didn't you, Dan?
No, I didn't.
I didn't think so, but now, after listening to that, I think you did, didn't you?
How the hell, she doesn't know. She wasn't here. She knows what,
what
does she know that there's a divorce?
That's a red flag.
What does she know? She knows something. She wouldn't have reacted the way she did.
Well, I don't know what it is.
Just from the we don't have any audio about that phone call.
She obviously had concerns if that was her knee jerk.
Okay, well.
You understand where we're coming from?
Because I have talked to my daughter about that.
Stan,
you think all you want.
I think you did.
No, I didn't.
The condition of Kendi's body indicated that she had fought hard to save her life. The violent struggle left her with a broken jaw, bruises all over her body, lacerations on her feet, and a second-degree burn on her arm.
Burn!
Prosecutors asserted that Dan asphyxiated Kendi by putting her in a carotid restraint. The technique involves placing an arm around the victim's neck to apply pressure that cuts off the blood flow to the brain. It can render someone unconscious in seconds. Investigators believe that Dan Howard then removed Kendi's clothing and carried her lifeless body into the bathroom where he filled the bathtub, put the gun in her mouth, and pulled the trigger. The gun was found in the water with her. The bullet had a downward trajectory, but self-inflicted gunshot wounds usually have an upward or horizontal trajectory. And there wasn't much blood at the scene, further supporting the theory that the wound occurred after death. It wasn't until 2 years after Kendi died that Dan was charged with killing her.
2 years?
1 year later, while his trial was underway, he was arrested at the Spokane International Airport for breaking the conditions of his release that prohibited him from going within 2 miles of the airport. In March of 2024, Dan Howard was convicted of second-degree murder and domestic battery. At his sentencing hearing, he continued to deny that he had killed his wife.
I stand before you, shell of a man I used to be. Hell, I don't even have a shell left. My wife
sympathy from us.
took her life.
Bitch ass nigga.
My will to live went down significantly. And when the jury found me guilty of crimes I didn't commit, it went down even further.
The judge cited a combination of factors that drove Daniel Howard to kill Kendi, including jealousy, greed, pride, anger, and revenge.
Definitely.
He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder, and received an additional 10-year sentence for domestic battery that will run concurrently. If you found this case compelling, don't forget to like the...
Fucking-sane. Dan, I hope you stay in prison for the rest of your fucking life, because that's insane, bro. How could you kill your wife, bro? 27 years? Niggas, man.